Hey, welcome back to the channel. We're just getting ready to do some paint work on the Wisconsin here, and what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up painting gray plastic with gray primer and then shoot more gray paint over the top of that. So I don't think this is exactly the exciting portion of modeling, but we're going to get some color on and that's going to be cool. So let's get the primer going here. Okay, look how good that goes on. Okay. Now, I mean, you're watching me do this kind of in live time. I mean, that's pretty much dry already. Still be careful where you're touching it, but it's enough you can lightly handle it. Okay, so there's that. And actually, I lied. We're going to shoot some black on the bottom of this next. So let me get the airbrush cleaned out, and we'll spray some black on this to make the boot top line, and we'll get going with that here in just a second. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself, ended up doing most of this off screen. I painted the BL1, the black along the bottom of the ship, and then I got some masking tape that's 3 millimeters wide. It's just this stuff. It's that stuff we were selling, and I'm going to do the black stripe along the hole in that. So I didn't know how well it was going to work, and I started messing around with it, and pretty soon figured out I'm done with the ship. So anyway, so that's where I'm at with that, which is good because now we just got to shoot the haze gray on this thing. Let me get this mixed up first. Okay, so we're just doing haze gray, Federal Standard 36270 in base coat. I just did the BL1 in base coat for the black line. And basically in this step, everything but everything gets hit with the gray, with the haze gray. And I'm going a little light on the sides here. Because you don't want to come in here and spray this on way too heavy and then end up having to mess up the tape work. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but you can see the difference in color between the haze gray and the primer. So that's nice. Like I said, just everything goes. Okay. Oh, that's looking really good. Oh, I'm impressed with that. Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm after right there. Yeah. Yeah, looking good, looking good. I am very happy with that. Touch up a couple of spots I can see from here. Okay. Grab this by the back here. Gonna bowling ball this thing. Or not. Again, you know, if you're watching this in real time, you can see how fast that dried. I can really lightly handle this already. That's the beauty of base coats. Front there. Okay. Okay. That is I don't want to just drop this thing. Okay, that is the haze gray for the main part of the hull. Now, of course, I just got to come in and fix, you know, some of these side panels and stuff. Make sure you get a good coating on them. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to stop here. I know you probably don't want to listen to the compressor run anymore, and I don't want to bore you with a bunch of paint work. So when I come back, I'll show you how I'm going to do the deck, and then we'll get moving on with that. Okay, everything's looking great. We're going to start doing the flight deck gray here. It's going to be all these areas back here. Basically, it's going to be the smooth spot here, and then right here where the helicopters land. That'll have a decal over the top of it. Got the side all taken care of. It's looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot that flight deck with a lot less air pressure because I don't want it blowing all over the place. So I'm going to turn that down. You'll probably be able to hear the air pressure drop when I do this. Yeah, okay, so that's barely moving air. Okay. Okay. So, see, just like that. Okay. Got that all shaken up. Yeah, boy, that is barely spraying. That is exactly what you want. Okie dokie. Okay. I actually don't think I needed to mess that up. Doesn't matter to me. It turned out perfect anyway, so now we just gotta let that dry until that's dry, and then we gotta come in and we gotta do a real light back masking and respray some of this stuff in the haze gray just to fill it out. But first we're gonna mask off that spot where it's supposed to be the deck gray right there, and then we're gonna spray where it's supposed to be deck gray right here. So let me get the airbrush cleaned. Actually, let me get the airbrush reset up, and you'll hear as I add the air to it, you'll hear where it was spraying before. So that's like 20. What's that showing? 24 pounds. So that's good. So okay, so let me clean out the airbrush, and we'll come back and we'll get some masking done, and we'll start getting some paint work done on this thing. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, I didn't want to bore you with masking all that off, but we got it all masked off. So we just need to do these two spots here, and then we need to do this little bit in the front here. And again, we're going to do it the same way we did the flight deck gray. This is just deck gray. It's basically anything that's not wood and that sits on a horizontal plane gets painted this color, except for these and equipment stuff. So the turrets are still going to be haze gray, but anyway. So anyway, you want to paint this here and then that front piece there. Okay, Okay. Look at that. That looks great. Okay. How good that looks, huh? All right. So now we got to come back in, and we got to remask this off a little bit because I need to re-hit some of these stuff with the haze gray. And boy, howdy, we'll be we'll be on this thing in just a second. Actually, here, wait a minute. I see a spot I missed. Okay. Okay. And then that piece there is going to be wood. That decking there is going to be wood, and then the wood around here and stuff. It's going to be nice. This is going to look great. And the best part is, I guarantee you the time I saved by not having to actually mask all this stuff off to reshoot that deck in a brown, I promise you, I've saved enough time to probably build the ship. I mean, it's probably would have taken me longer to do that than it will to put this in, and that's going to be our next step after I get the haze gray done. So I'm not gonna bore you with the haze gray. When we come back, we're gonna start putting down the wooden decking. So we'll be back in just a second for that. All right, so I've had a little bit of a change of plan here. We're still gonna do the touch up with the haze gray, but we're not doing it through the airbrush. I'm gonna teach you a little trick here. So again, haze gray, same thing, we already sprayed it. Now every time you get a bottle of paint from Scalefinishes, you're going to get one of these little spoons. They're not going to be primered. This one's already primered, but they're just going to be the white plastic. You're going to get one of the spoons, and you're going to get one of these little detail droppers. Now what you can do is you can take this, fill it up, drop some in the bottom of here so it makes a puddle. That was like 7 or 8 drops. Okay, and then you're going to throw away the little dropper, and then you're going to put the cap back on that. Then you're going to let this sit for a little bit until it thickens up enough you can brush paint it. Which actually, that's, catch the edge, it looks like it's starting to come up already a little bit. So I'm going to work with it a little bit here. But anyway, so just let that sit for a second. Now, you can't dry it out. Like, you would be able to just leave like a big spoonful of that out and dry it out enough to be able to brush paint like the entire model. But, you know, you can use it to touch-ups here and there. I mean, you see what I'm doing with it. It's you can see what I'm doing. That's so cool, isn't it? So, just so I'm not annoying everybody, I worked with a guy at TSA, and he He was in a recon unit in the Marine Corps during Korea. No, sorry, he was in Vietnam. And anyway, so he says they were going through this little valley on patrol, and they come up against this little hill, and these VC jumped out of it and started shooting at them. As soon as the Marines would start to shoot back at them, the Viet Cong would hide back up into the hill. So he says, it was one of those things, you had the hill, and they'd pop up and they'd shoot. And as soon as we'd start shooting back, they'd drop down. And as soon as fire died down, then they'd pop up somewhere else and shoot. And he says they did that about twice, and their little squad commander said, hell with this, I'm calling in for fire support. So he says they called it in, and they got a weird radio call back and said, hold on. We're shooting your fire mission, give us a few minutes. And they went, okay. So he says they were laying there on the ground, and he says you could hear it. You could hear this weird buzzing noise. And he was like, okay, that's not normal. He says they were laying there, and he says out of the sky, you could see these 3 little dots coming in. He says they got bigger and bigger. You could see they were a shell. And he says those things came whipping in and went boom, 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 and hit the top of that hill. And the whole top of the hill was just obliterated. It was, I guess it was the New Jersey, was offshore that day. And they were within reach of her 16-inch guns. And so when these Marines called in and said, hey, we need a support mission, they were like, yep, this is our time to shine. And he says he'd never seen anything like it before, that those rounds just come buzzing in and just destroyed that little hill. So he says they radioed back and went, hey, yeah, thanks for the support. That was definitely effective. And the Jersey guys were like, yep, we figured it would be. You land that much ordnance on something, and yeah, no, you're taking care of it. It's good. That guy was cool. I can't remember his name. He was he had all sorts of funny stories. He was a sheriff's deputy for Tooele County Sheriff, and he used to run their canine dogs. He says they went out there one day, and somebody was building a warehouse, and they had called up the sheriff's department and said, hey, building's actually going to be done for like a week before we start moving stuff in. If you want to come out and let your department train on our property, we're more than happy to let you do that. So they set up a training rotation out there. So he says he gets out there with the dog, and they get all set up and they're getting ready to do their first run through, and the SWAT guys are teasing them. They're giving them guff. Oh, we don't need a dog out here, and we're just going to go in, and you're not going to corner nobody with the dog, so ha ha ha. And they're just teasing them, It's all good-hearted fun. So he says they got up to the front of the building, and they get all ready, and the guy hollers through the bullhorn, county sheriff, come out with your hands up, and to no one's surprise, nobody says nothing. And so he yells it again, county sheriff, come out with your hands up, and nothing. So they're like, ha ha ha, send the dog in. So he says he gives it the little order to search, and he lets it go. He says, God, he unleashed it. That thing just bolted in the building, and everybody was kind of like, whoa, that was weird, because usually in the training situations, if there's nobody there, even the dog was kind of like, yeah, this isn't, I'll just run around a little and check, but whatever. So the dog gets out there and runs out, and they're like, ha 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 ha. And so they follow it back, and it's in the back in the warehouse, and it's sitting there, and it's pointing up at the top of the shelving unit. And they were like, what's going on? So they get out, and they get in there, they go over to where the dog's pointing, and yeah, some dudes they get up there, and so he says there's like 20 SWAT guys with their rifles, and they're all pointing up at this they're all pointing up at this shelving unit, and they yell, "County Sheriff, show us your hands." Joking, right? And this dude's hands pop out over the top of the shelving unit. Yeah, one of the construction workers had circled back, thought that weekend it was going to be empty, and he could still copper wire. So he climbed up on top to start yanking the wire down. When the sheriff department showed up with the SWAT team and the helicopter and the dog, he said, easiest arrest they'd ever made. Yeah, that guy was funny. He was really big into martial arts. I guess he had won a few championships and stuff, and he had a granddaughter that he was training, and she was super amazing. So that's cool. I don't know whatever happened to him. He actually worked with us before we became TSA, and then when we transferred out, and then when we quit being the contractor and we turned to actual TSA, he said, "Yeah, I've dealt with government jobs before. I'm done. Count me out on this one, fellas." Which, honestly, after the way TSA ended up being, was probably not too bad of a call. Okay, so that is done. We're done with the deck there, or we're done with the painting on the deck there. Let me clean out the brush, and it's just as simple as, this is just a bottle of cheap lacquer thinner and an old Tester's brush cleaning jar. And by the way, you can also clean your airbrush with the same inexpensive lacquer. I have like a quart of that crown stuff you get over at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. It's all good. That'll all work. Okay. So now we're here for the part that I know you guys are super excited about. I'm going to start shooting some of the wood deck on here, and I'm going to start with the back. Now, I've been playing with these a lot, so really carefully you need to cut around it because it has little teeny bits where they didn't, or when they laser cut it, it left a little nub on it. Okay. Now you have to be super careful, but there's a paper backing on this. Oh yeah, this is... There we go. Ah. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me come back to this in a second. Okay, I am back, and I got this kind of fixed. So the wood portion of this is pretty stout. It is very fragile. You have to be really careful with it, but you can work with it. Don't worry too much about it. I mean, you just saw me do what I did there, and yeah, but I come back and got it kind of fixed. So anyway. Just be super careful, but don't be afraid of it, is I think what I'm trying to say. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. So let's actually peel some off of a bigger piece here, so it's a little easier to watch. Yeah. Good job, James. It's a lot easier to watch. I'm sorry. Like I've said before, some parts of modeling aren't all that fun, and this is one of them. Okay, there we go. And again, and then there's maybe a piece of advice. Don't get super bogged down in the it has to come off a specific way kind of thought. See, I just keep messing that stuff up. There we go. Okay. Look at that. Oh man, that looks so good. Okay, so like I said before, I am super happy. Here, I don't want to reach across there. I am super happy with having picked this up, because that is done. Believe me, if I would have tried to do that by hand, you'd be here till the end of time messing with that. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with doing the rest of this. You saw how it worked. So let me finish up doing the deck here, and then we'll come back and we'll put on the chain, and I think that'll be it for this episode. Okay, so I have found a spot in the setup here where you have to do some stuff before you do some other stuff. So you actually have to glue these side pieces on. Glue these side pieces on before you put this piece in. So I'm going to make that happen right here. Okay. So just to talk about this for a second, I bought this deck kit off AliExpress, and I have no idea what the model, I have no idea what it is. I have no idea who makes it. It just simply had it just said it was for the Wisconsin 1991, and I was like, okay, that's the kit. And then when I got it, it had no information on it. It was just a piece of cardboard, and it just had just Chinese writing all over it, and it just, showed the wood deck and give the model number, and or not the model number, just the boat, and give the boat information, and that was it. So I really wish I could tell you more about this kit, because I am just loving this. I cannot tell you how well this thing's turning out. But unfortunately, I don't have any answers for that, which makes me feel bad, because I hate using products and then not being able to pass along what they are, especially if they work this well. And that's another thing. If you're buying a wooden deck kit for the Iowa class battleships like this, make sure you get the one specific to the kit you're using. Because if you got one for just like the Iowa, the way she was in World War II, none of this would be correct for it. It'll be all different planking on the deck, on the back of it. So you have to be careful with that. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but of course, as they refitted and changed them and did different things to them, they changed up a lot of stuff. So just be cognizant of that. Okay. Actually, I think I am pretty close to being done with this. So let me finish this up real quick, and like I said, we'll get the anchor chain on and we'll be good to go. All right. So I cannot be happier with how this looks. Look at how good that looks. How pretty that is. All the details are sticking out. Everything looks great. God, that is just wonderful. Okay, so that's that. Let me grab something and we'll finish this up. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of stuff here to work with. Like I said, we'll get the chains on, get the anchor chain set out. So for that, I'm just going to put a little dab of the super glue in the hole. Okay. And take the end of the chain, put it into the hole, let that dry for a few seconds. And then I want to cut this about right there. Okay. And then kind of the same deal. Okay. Easy peasy, huh? Okay. And I know that just chewed the crap out of the edge of that chain. So I need to change that up. Okay. Okay, and then just throw that little goobered piece up where the sprue cutters didn't quite work with it. Man, I can't believe this. I just, I am just so happy with Sorry, I was saying that I am just so absolutely happy with how this is turning out. I am very, 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 very much just feel like this could not possibly go any better. Okay. And then we got the 2 anchor chains laid out there on the deck, looking good. Haha. Nice. Nice, nice. Probably come in and add a tiny bit of something to hold it down. But honestly, I'm planning on shooting this whole thing with the 500 flat. So, and boy, look, they gave me enough chain. I mean, I could probably redo that one more time. Still have a little bit left over. So wow, I am blown away. I am blown away. That is just never mind. I was thinking of something, then I realized if I put those on, they are just going to get ruined. So, okay. So this is the stern turret. And this is where all the crap. This is where all the work earlier really pays off. Well, that stupid thing's fighting me a little bit. Okay, actually that's because that edge is all goofed up. Holy crap, I didn't notice that. Okay, so okay, let's take some 400 grit there. Clean the end of that off. Okay. Okay, let me reset this. Okay. And again, I'm sorry, this is not the fun part of model building. Oh, yeah, there's your problem. Those actually don't fit in there very well. Okay, no big deal. Okay, there we go. Jeez, I should have done that sooner. I am so sorry. Making you watch me do this. I'm sure you're like, God, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And I assure you that you're partially right about that. I have an idea, I just am not doing it right. Okay, now we need, there we go. Okay, aha, and the turrets turns. Cool, right? Okay, so I'm not going to make you watch me do that. I'm going to stop right here because that is just too cool. Looks really good along the water line. Turrets on, turns, isn't real super loose. This superstructure's getting all put together. Yeah, I am just happy about this. So much so that I actually think I'm going to end the excuse me. Anyway, as I was saying, that I'm so happy with that I was about ready to call it quits on the video, and we'll just come back on the next one, and we will spend a heck of a lot more time getting a lot of other stuff taken care of. So anyway, as I was saying, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way through to the end, I do very much appreciate that. And since this is a military build, I would also like to tell you guys that we have a paint code of military 10, and that's a 10% off discount code for anybody who served in the military. And I mean, I don't care what you did, if it's military or government related or anything like that, feel free to use it. I'm not going to complain. And if you're in a non-US military, if you're in a kind of an allied military group, go ahead and use it from them too. I mean, if you're, if you're former SAS, yeah, really, I want you to use that. If you're, RCAF, go ahead. I'd be happy to hear from you guys too. Anybody, Australia. I don't want to start calling out a list of countries, but the point is, if you're in a military, if you're military or military service, government service, stuff like that, let me know. I mean, we're doing a military project here, so I want you to know that we have that. And as always, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to use any of the paint that you've seen me use, we sell all that at scalefinishes.com. Just use code YouTube10 and you'll get 10% off that. There we go. There we go. Now the turrets are in. Anyway, as I was saying, use code YouTube10. You'll get 10% off all the paints we used. The glue I used, like I explained about, the brushes, those, we sell those. The paint brushes I did the detail work with, we sell those. Yeah, we sell the sanding pads you just watched me fix the base of those with. So anyway, we sell all that stuff. And if you want any of it, again, scalefinishes.com, use code YouTube10, you'll get 10% off, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.